Hey y'all, I'm Dana, the Marigold Shepherdess, and this is the fabric that I wove in the last video. And now I have to actually make it into a usable item. And I'm gonna do something that I've never tried before, which I'm gonna make a piece of clothing out of woven material. Now I've done tops. I've made tops I've crocheted those vests and shirts and things like that. And I have woven scarves, which are the easiest thing you can make when you're weaving. And so this is gonna be the first time that I'm actually gonna try and make an item of clothing out of my hand woven. So it is gonna require some work. I'm gonna do a very, very simple wrap skirt. So pretty much all I'm gonna have to do is cut this into two pieces. So I'll cut this one very long piece into two pieces, and then I'm gonna sew them together on one side. And I'm not gonna use the sewing machine for that. I'm gonna sit down and hand sew with some yarn to make it very strong and to make this edge so that it doesn't have a weird dimple in it all the way around. I've experimented with that already some just to see what I get, and it looks pretty good. So I feel pretty confident about trying it with this. And then I will have to hem the ends. So once I get it all sewn together, I'll make sure the ends are even, and then I have to hem them. And I am not going to be able to do a proper hem. There's so much fabric. I'm not going to be able to do a proper hem on these because I tried folding it 3 times to see what I get, and it's incredibly bulky. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's very bulky. So I'm probably just going to be able to do one fold for the hem, and then make sure that I sew this very, very carefully in place so that this side looks good, but this side isn't going to come apart and come unraveled. And then I'm going for the waistband. I'm actually going to try and crochet it first. So I'm going to see if I can do a crochet waistband. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to figure out how to sew one. But first step is going to be cutting this piece of fabric in half, and then after I do that, I am going to sew those two ends so that they don't unravel while I'm doing the rest of it. And that's what's going to be next. So let's do this thing. Okay, I got to be very careful with this because I want to get it, really I want to get it right along, if I can get between two pieces of yarn so that I don't have a bunch of frayed pieces. That's ideal. Very straight cut. And I only get one try. Like, I don't get to, you know, this is the only piece of fabric in the world like it. And so I have to make sure I get this done exactly right. So I'm a little nervous. Every time I have to cut hand woven fabric, I get really nervous. Oh, and I ask myself over and over and over again, is this right? Is this right? Am I doing this right? Should I be doing this? So I'm just trying to make sure, get this lined up the way I want it. Right there. Here we go. Ooh. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Oh, it didn't cut all the way. You know what? Let's go this side. quite get that. Watch toes, Mona Lisa. There we go. Okay, before I mess with this too much, I'm just gonna sew along here. I'm not gonna hem it yet because I want to make sure the hems match up before I do that. But I am gonna sew this along here to keep all of this fraying out. And I did already full this fabric, and what that means is that I washed it and agitated it so that all the fibers puffed up and filled in all the spaces. As well as I actually did quite agitated it a good bit. I put it in my washing machine and then in my dryer, and that actually felted a little bit, which will really help with this project, keeping the ends from fraying. So let's go sew this. So you can see, even as I was sewing that, little bits of it wanted to come. This is fraying, you know, this is fraying off as I was sewing. So that is exactly why I am sewing these edges before I sit down and start doing any hand sewing. So that really, little frayed edges. So, but that should hold things in place long enough until I can actually hem it properly. Let me get the other half. Here we go. All right, let's finish this thing off. So, let me see. I'm going to start at this end. I'm going to turn it this way. There we go. I've got this yarn right here, and I've measured out what I think is going to be enough, but we'll see. Set this up so it's easier for you to be able to see what I'm doing in a second. I'm terrible at getting the yarn through these yarn needles, so I just cheat and I do that. Love needle threaders. Got my start here, so let's start sewing this together and see how it turns out. Hopefully it'll look good. Alright, so I'm just going to start by lining them up on the one end. Start here, work my way down. And we'll see if they're still even when they get to the end. And I know anybody who's out there who's a sewer and everything is going to gasp probably when they see my methods. But hopefully it will all hold together well. I will weave this end in later, so I'm just going to tie it now. The way I see it, that is going to end up being hemmed anyways, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And now I have to remember, I think I go Alright, so now I think I go through like this. Yes, that's it. Okay. And because I'm not too confident about this thread holding this yarn in place for just this first stitch, I'm going to tie that again if I need to come back and clip this or anything like that, I can. Because once again, remember, this will be hemmed, so I'm not as concerned about it. But now I've got this knotted so that I have 2 threads holding things in place. Okay, so now let's move on down. Through that. And I do have to be careful that I don't make this too tight, because then it will pucker, and I don't want it to do that. And I really, man, I wrenched that in there. I was like, you will be a stitch. I'm trying to do every single one. Boy, that is definitely felted together, didn't it? Okay. And then this is what it's gonna look like on the other side. It's definitely, it's not a perfect stitch. It's gonna look a little uneven. It's gonna look a little like an amateur made it. I'm okay with that. I'm calling it artistic license. I mean, I've seen worse work on the red carpet at the Oscars. So I'm just going to go with it. I already knew that that's how it was going to look like, and I went along with it. I decided to do this project anyways. So I'm going to continue with this. It's going to take a while because I've got almost 4 yards of fabric to do. So I will come back later when I've finished the whole thing and show you what it looks like then. Okay, so this is the 2 panels put together. I already went ahead and I hemmed it. And I hemmed it off camera because I was already so nervous about getting this hem right that I saw myself, you know, hitting record on the camera and then hemming it the outside to the outside instead of the inside or something stupid like that. So I just went ahead and got it done. And it's a little curvy. It doesn't make a perfect straight hem, but that's okay. It actually gives it some interest. There's not going to be anything perfect about this skirt whatsoever, which I think is what's going to make it interesting. Because it's, even if it's not perfect, it's not poorly made, if that makes sense. And so, at least I don't think it's poorly made. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. So I do have to make the waistband, try and crochet it. I already experimented and I can crochet to that top thread right there along the edge. And so that will take care of this join here. And then I just have to weave in this one down here. And unless I want to, well, I don't know what yarn I would use to make a fringe. I think a fringe would be too much on this. I think keeping it simple is going to be key with this one, because there's already, you know, a wonky hemline. There's already this line through the center of it. That's enough, you know, and the variegation of the different wools. You know, it's creating a funky enough fabric and skirt that it's not going to need a fringe as well. So I gotta figure out how I'm going to do the crochet of the waistband. I have something in my head. We're going to go back inside. I'm going to play around with it a little bit and then bring you back in to show you what I'm doing. I think I need to just think about it for a minute and make sure that what I have in my head is going to work in real life. So, where I'm at with crocheting this waistband, and I've gotten a good ways through it already. I've got 6 rows, 6 rows in, and now I'm on row 7 here, And what I need to do is I need to create a hole for the cords to tie the skirt on. I need to create a hole for that cord to go through. And so what I'm going to do here, so what I've done 6 rows. I'm going to do this hole in row 7, and then I'm going to finish row 7, and then I'm going to do 5 more rows. And so that way I should have a waistband that's about that, yeah, about that wide. And then once I get done with that, I will create some belt loops. So let's see, how big do I want this? Let's do just one more here. So that's, I didn't even count it as I went. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want it too big, but I also want it easy to get the cord through. So I'm just going to do one more. Put it in place. And then I can check it. I think that's good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I don't actually know how quickly I'm going to get this work done, because somebody is too much of a helper. Yeah, you like to help a little too much, don't you? He loves yarn. He loves crochet hooks. He does not like to be ignored. So the rest, when I come back to this, and I like that. That's a good, like, you can't even tell that that's there until you open it up. So that's what I'm looking for. Doing single crochets all the way across. I will explain that when I did the foundation row into the woven fabric, I did 1 stitch on each side of the pick. So that's 1 pick, that's 2 pick, and then I put a chain in each one of those. And I ended up having to go back and doing decreases just a little bit. So I did after every 8 stitches, I did a decrease all the way across once, and it did exactly what I wanted, which is make the waistband a little bit smaller than the actual skirt, and it actually flows out nicely. So far I've done what I can to like hold it up and see how it's looking, and like put it on. Do not bite that in half. The progress has been very, very slow. Very slow. And this essentially has turned into cat TV. Lucky kitten, got a fiber home. Okay, so let me show you what I'm doing with the ends, because I do need a band of I need a strap of some sort to tie the skirt on. And so what I've done is when I get to the end, I draw out a very lengthy amount of yarn. And what I'll do is when I'm done crocheting the entire band, I'll come back and I'm going to braid this into a single braid. and then that should work as my tie off to be able to hold the skirt up. All right, let me hold this up here so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. I'm going to go in that first stitch, I'm gonna pull that through. I gotta make sure I've got the correct end here. So this is the end that'll go towards the eventual tie strap. Just okay. Give me this. It's not very professional, I know. Okay, and then that's it. I just pull that through, and that gives me my first stitch on my, this is now my 8th row, and it gives me 2 more strands for my ties for later. I'm back to my little slot here for the tie band, and now I'm going to show, you're gonna watch me absolutely struggle to try and get these stitches in here because it's not really set up for easy. Ah, that's one. Yes, it's one. This is why, so this is when you do chains like this and you have to go back in and you have to do stitches in each chain. This is why you see people just go around it like that, and they just skip trying to do that because that is so much easier. And I may end up doing that because these stitches close up really quickly and they're really difficult. Almost had it. Aha! That's 2. 3. 4. Ooh, so close. Ta-da! See, and that just looks so much better than if I was to just go put the stitches around that chain. So that's it. I now have that part of the waistband done. Alright, so I'm going to put in the rest of my rows, and then I'm going to braid my tie straps, and I've got to do some belt loops that I'll crochet on here as well. So no need for you to sit here for 5 hours and watch me finish off this band. So I will come back later and show you how I'm going to do the belt loops, and then we'll do the big reveal. I have all my rows for my waistband, and I've started working on the tab. So I've got my first tab. It looks like a tab right now. It's going to be a belt loop, and what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll tack the bottom down later, and that way the belt part of it won't slide off. And I'm doing them pretty close together because I have a feeling they're gonna have a tendency to want to slide off this slick yarn pretty easily. So let me show you how I did this. So I included this. I just went ahead and I added it as I went along. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. Get more yarn. 4, 5. You know what? I'm going to redo that because I made those chains a little too tight. There we go. Gonna make them a little looser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it was 10 that I did. Apparently it was 9 that I did. Let's see if I got that right. So now I'm going to do some tune-in crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh. Now the yarn wants to split. 7, 8. Nope. I had done 10. Easy enough to fix. I say as I can't get these off. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go, 9. Okay, and then I'm going to attach it to the belt band, like so, and just go, no, I don't want 3. So you do 2, and that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, perfect. And now I'm going to just do the tune-in crochet, continuing these get real small. Go. There's one more. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Okay. And include it. Okay, so I have the number of rows that I want here, same as this one, and now I just have to work my way down the side to connect it back. I do just 1 and then just single crochet. So there, I'll just pull that out so you can see again. Chain 1. And then just single crochet Riot, you are sitting on my yarn. It's not one of you, it's another one of you. And then you just connect it like that. And voila! There you go. So I will, like I said, I'll come back. And what I'll do is I'll tack these down. And so this is the front of the skirt. I'll tack this down to the front And then I'll have my little belt loops that I can run my belt through so that it doesn't slide up my waist. Alright, I just got a couple more of these to make, and I'll be ready to braid the ends. And then I'll be done. Wow, that's hard to believe. Awesome. So that's my skirt. Mona Lisa, can I please have my skirt? Mona Lisa. Mona. Hey, don't ignore me. Cat. Can I please have my skirt? Right. Alright, that's the skirt. So I hope you guys really enjoyed coming along with me on this journey. I really had a lot of fun, and I now have a skirt that I can wear this winter because I'm not wearing it this summer. This thing is warm, so that's going to be great for this winter. And for now, it's goodbye. But I hope to see you next week for our next big fiber adventure. Thanks for watching. Bye.